Beth.
Hello.
Okay, so bonus episode time. We are not going to talk science because we are
Mhm.
nerds of many interests. Um,
Many shared nerderies.
many shared nerderies between us. Yeah, so we thought we could chat for a minute about a different shared nerdery that is Great British Baking Show or Bake Off.
We're getting a new season soon.
So soon, as in like this week.
Mhm.
Yeah, so probably even by the time I get this posted, it will have already started because I think the first episode already aired in Britain, and then it's a few days later before it airs here. Um, so yeah, we are right at the start of what is this, season 15? What season is this?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. 16, I think. I think that's, yeah, series 16. That's a lot of bake-offs. Okay,
That
so for
is.
those that are not in the know, I suppose, I mean, probably people are, if they're not in the know, they're like, oh, I don't want to watch this episode, right? But like for anybody that doesn't know, there's been the Great British Bake Off, also known as GBBO, that is a reality show that is from Britain, as one might expect by the name, reality competition where the bakers compete, like any sort of generic competition show, like starts with a big group and each week, they
Mhm.
drop another person until you get to the end and there's a winner. And they're competing by baking. Um, which, okay, sure. So let's go into like why we love that.
Mhm.
I think, okay, yes, you and I both like to bake and we can nerd out about that too. But I think the thing for me, like, I am not into reality TV at all. Like, I don't watch much TV to begin with because I have 400 things that there's always like too many things to do. So it never quite makes it to the top of my. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. The thing is, Bake Off. I know, I know. Get me chatting, and I'm like not able to follow a single conversational path. The thing I love about Bake Off the most, though, is just how kind the people are on the show, right?
Mhm.
Like it may be a competition, but like very regularly, especially when you get into a season when they like really get to know each other and become good friends, like it's not just the person that
Mhm.
leaves that's crying. It's like they announce somebody's leaving and
Everybody.
like everybody starts crying because they're like, no, I love you and support you and you're a delight and a friend. And like, yeah.
I feel like with Bake Off, they are there to make friends.
Yes,
It's like
absolutely.
the opposite of normal reality TV.
Yeah. So that is, I think, a huge reason I love it. And a huge reason why I am perpetually drawn back to it and can even go and like rewatch old seasons. It's like it's not about who wins.
Mhm. I also like learning about uh sweets and all sorts of things that I like very much have never heard of and be like, ooh, that's a cool thing. Maybe I will try to make that someday.
Yes. Yeah, I have definitely learned a lot about baking by watching Bake Off. In
Mhm.
part, especially like the last several years, because we've got kind of a crazy thing in my family around Bake Off. So, a chunk of my family, so I'll say like this didn't seem okay. There's a chunk of my family that's like super into sports. And, many of them do sports, fantasy leagues. They watch sports of all kinds together. I mean, I even have, a family member who was a professional athlete, like lots of sports going on. That didn't I didn't inherit that. I am not a sports person, but that's like where the idea got started of having a fantasy bake-off league. So my family,
What?
yes, yes. So my family every year now for a number of years, we have um, had a draft where we each get to pick two bake off. It's like it's a whole sports draft. We have a commissioner. Zachary is the commission, Commissioner Zachary. He handles the rules and the drafting, tallies points. And we each end
Is
up
it
with
always the same commissioner or
yes, yes. No, it all is always Commissioner Zach because nobody can do better than he can. Zach, and he sends, oh my gosh, like the best emails. He's so witty. Like adore Zach and appreciate him so much for his efforts in our Bake Off League. Um, so we do a family draft. In fact, ours is tonight after dinner. We're all getting on Zoom and doing the draft. And so each team gets to pick two bakers. And then there's points given every week based on how long they stay in the show. So each episode, there's like more points. If somebody gets a Hollywood handshake, there's bonus points. If they get Star Baker, if they win the technical challenge. Um, and we track those points, and there's a winner at the end. Um, the funny thing is, I think Stephen and Maria have won every single time, and they're perhaps the least bakery of the like
Mhm.
households, but the most sporty of the households. So somehow their like sports knowledge seems to have them.
They've drafted in other things?
They've drafted in other things. I don't know. I don't understand why Stephen and Maria are able to win every year in the draft, but they do, and I adore them for it. Because, they probably are, yes, bake.
Is there a prize? Would you win something?
Yeah, no, we have an engraved, engraved platter of, family bake-off winner. Yeah, no, it's a full thing. So then there is also, we have a spirit points competition, which has changed slightly in how we calculate the points over the years. I like how we did it originally because I always won. Of
Well, of course, what's
course.
not to like?
Yeah. Well, so actually, so the first couple years I won kind of hands down because I work from home. My office is in my basement. So it was very easy for me. Like I get up early in the morning with my daughter, I get dough going or, whatever. And then like since I'm at home, I can just like pop up in between meetings and like, oh, I need to knead my dough. Like
Oh, so this actually involves baking.
this involves so the spirit points is about baking. Yeah. So you get points for baking during each week. And initially it was just like baking, you got bonus points if you baked the technical. So I have actually baked many of the technical recipes from the last several years of Bake Off, if not most of them. I have to say, um, including you and I one time got the ingredients. I was visiting Boston and we were all set to make the pithivier. I will always remember. I'm not even sure I could define a pithivier, but it was like a pithivier, and we were all set to bake it at the hotel. Staying in like one of the hotels with kitchenettes until we then realized that we couldn't actually do that during our workday because it didn't have an oven, just a cooktop and a microwave.
Yeah.
So
But yes, note to folks who live in the Pacific Northwest, Erin has a lot of baked goods,
yes.
and she's a good friend to have.
Yes. Um, so okay, so it was just based on like, how much you baked, but then a couple plot twists in in things. So I was the only person working from home. I have family, like one household, they're both lawyers, like not an option to move dough around during the day. Other households, like teachers, also not an option to like be at home and like, move dough in and out of the oven between meetings. Then there was the year that my Aunt Deborah retired. And then it was a heated race between me and her because once she retired, she had a heck of a lot more time to bake and was home. And so then heated race, I think she won that year. We were very, begrudgingly excited for her because I was glad she got to retire. And then we have since shifted now to sort of even the playing field for those that do not work from home and or are retired. Spirit points are based on, uh, you know, you get a point for baking that week, anything. You can get an extra point if it is on theme. So it doesn't have to be the technical recipe. It just needs to be like on theme for the week. And in part, The driving decision behind that was concordant with the third point you can get for baking gluten-free, because in the middle of our family's obsession with Bake Off, four of my family members were diagnosed as celiac.
Mm.
Um, and
That's a
so,
problem, yeah.
yeah, so making it impossible to follow most of the technical recipes. And for those that are not major bakers, like gluten, so celiac is an allergy to gluten, and gluten is a huge it's a protein that's naturally in most grains that we bake with. Particularly wheat is generally quite high in gluten. There are some that are like low in gluten, and some very few grains that we bake with that are gluten-free, including buckwheat. For anybody that's ever confused by that, buckwheat isn't a wheat. It is actually, anyway, I have so
Today I
many things to
learned.
say. So many things to say about gluten now that I have family members that are allergic, and a severe allergy. Like can't even, like, can't eat anything that comes out of my household, even if it is not, even if I bake something that doesn't have gluten in it. Like any level of contamination is dangerous. So then we added in the extra bonus point for if you bake something gluten-free, you get an extra bonus point because it's a lot harder, because that gluten is actually what gives structure to everything, every baked good, basically. So it's a lot harder to do gluten-free baking. So that was a whole lot of, I'm sorry, you get me started on this, and I just have a whole lot to say.
I don't think if people are hanging out here wanting to hear us talk about Great British Bake Off, that is an excellent story.
Yeah, so very excited for this year. We'll see what happens. So we had a funny thing. Okay, last two family anecdotes around Bake Off on our draft last year. I won't say any spoilers, but I will say there was so we actually formed a leftovers team, because we used to draft, we'd watch the first episode and then draft, which left us, we had five teams, and they start with 12 bakers. So that left, so one person leaves during the first episode. That left us drafting 10 out of the remaining 11, and one person would just go undrafted. Well, the only thing I'll say is last year in the first episode, they didn't end up sending anybody home. So we had a full leftovers team with the two undrafted people. And in a twist of fate, last year, the leftovers actually won our whole family draft. So we all failed. Stephen and Maria aren't actually the winners every year if we count the leftovers. So, um, yeah, we thought that
I
was,
love the dedication, though, to the tracking that you tracked the undrafted people.
yeah, I am not the only person that likes accurate record keeping. It turns out that
It's a family trait.
it's a family trait. We've got mathematicians, we've got lawyers, it's there's a lot of structured thinking happening. So yeah, that was I'll stop talking about that. But that I'm looking forward to Bake Off starting again, and that like extra, I think the extra motivation to try like things that I don't actually even think I want to bake, but end up being a really cool learning experience, and and often like something fun and tasty.
Mhm. And it's definitely a great show that is fun for the whole family. Like my husband and I watch it together. I know you watch it with your husband and daughter. Like
Absolutely. Yeah, it's super fun, super friendly, um, and just,
much like ourselves, fun and friendly.
yeah, it's just so positive. And if you enjoy baking, or I mean, your husband and my husband aren't, I would not put them in the category of enjoy baking. Like you don't actually even have to enjoy baking. Enjoy
Mhm.
positive competition. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have a favorite anything, like a recipe or an episode or a person, like any favorite to share?
Well, person is hard without going into spoilers, though I will say I did love that there has been one computational biology postdoc on the Great British Bake Off, which
Yes.
I thought was great.
Yes, absolutely.
representing those of us women in computational biology. Um, but probably my favorite recipe is there is a smoked salmon soda bread from the COVID season. So it would have come out about 2021. So it's probably season 11, give or take. That is so delicious and so good, and we still make it at home.
Yes, absolutely. I can second that. I've made that one too. Yeah, it's we can drop these in our show notes. Ermine's smoked salmon and chive soda bread. Um, yes, absolutely fabulous. Um, that's a great one. I think a favorite of mine, surprisingly, I think this is the one that stands out in my head the most, these Devonshire splits. Um, just beautiful, like not actually that hard. I mean, they look stunning. Um, and my finish work is never the strongest part of my baking. We'll just leave it at that. But even mine like came out looking much like this photo. So I would encourage this. This was a fun one, and I love strawberries and like strawberries and whipped cream on like a fluffy white, sweet white bread. Like not not too hard if you have experience baking bread. This is one. And I think even, this one, the soda bread, like one of the easier soda bread is one of the easiest breads to bake. So you don't even need much experience baking bread. I think it was in
I think
this
this
like
was
one
the first thing my husband ever baked was
I
he
was
made this after I made it once.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So this like even if you're not much of a baker yourself, I
mhm.
recommend these couple of recipes. So
Yeah. I think I might need to buy some strawberries on my way home.
yes. I mean, when doesn't one need to buy? Like, it's Friday afternoon. What am I going to do? I'm going to buy strawberries on the way home. Yeah.
Well, enjoy your draft. Enjoy the Great British Bake Off. Hopefully, you at home also enjoy the Great British Bake Off.
Thanks, babe. You too. And yeah, all you fellow nerds out there, let us know if you too love GBBO.
And
Uh,
what's your favorite recipe?
yes, and share recipes because then we'll go bake them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.